Hello, guys. It is I, Becca Lori Hector, here with Being Becca Live. That is my sweet little live stream that I do on Tuesdays with you guys, where I kind of address the whole being an adult on the spectrum thing right now, what it's like to be Becca, to be an autistic adult alive right now, living through it right now. And that's what it's about. So, you guys, welcome back to Being Back Alive. I'm excited. So this week, we are in a different area, and that has me a little kind of off because I usually sit in my office, you guys know, and that's where I do my live streams from. Sometimes that's where I do Growing Gratitude from, but it's usually where I'm, down in my office in that same usual spot. But today, we are returning to a topic we talked about not last week, but the week before, which is we are going to talk about food struggles. This is food struggles part 2, because there is more to that conversation on food struggles. There are more components to it and more that I had to say. But last week I had that fantabulous moment of vulnerability, sharing with you guys kind of my struggles about the dentist and the doctor, which, by the way, yesterday was dentist day. Yesterday I got the permanent tooth put in with permanent glue. Yes, hello. Thanks, Bill. Hi, CV. Hey, Nancy. Oh, we have somebody new. Techno Indigo. Hi, how are you? I don't know. I will find out, I'm sure, who you are, what your real name is, but I don't know you. So welcome. Welcome to the new people joining us in chat. So the new people who come and subscribe and then come and join us in Being Back Alive. So food struggles. I thought, since I'm doing food struggles, let's also change up the space a little bit and bring it back to the kitchen, right? Because if we're going to talk about food struggles, we have to talk about that. But yesterday was the dentist, so I'm still a little bit tired from that. But I do want to talk about these components. I also had this tooth fixed, which it now looks, I got to tell you, it now looks real. It was a temporary tooth for 20 something years. So, oh, Nora. Hey, Nora. It's Nora. I love you so much. I'm so glad that you joined us. I'm so happy to have you guys. Anyways, this is the kitchen situation. This is where all of the magic happens in the kitchen, except that it's not my space. See that sink that's right over there? That's my space. I'm a dish doer. I am not somebody who cooks. I didn't learn how to cook. My mom was a single mom and didn't really have the time to teach me about cooking or to show me about cooking or really to cook herself. And since she had a picky eater on board, it really didn't matter anyway. So, hey, Morgan. And so, yeah, I am not helpful in the kitchen in any way. And then on top of it, as you guys know, since I've talked about it a few times, I have dyspraxia, which means that my coordination skills are not fantastic. And because I wasn't diagnosed as a child with autism, I didn't have an OT experience to help me with that. So I really struggle. The working on the food truck has helped tons with my knife skills. I have to tell you, all my little fine motor skills are getting a lot better simply because I have to use them on the truck and I don't have time to let the anxiety slip in. And so I've been working a lot with that stuff. But anywho, let's continue, right? Let's talk more about the food struggles, because that is a huge piece of my autism in adulthood. It's been a big struggle for me in terms of some areas of my life. So I talked a little bit about the dyspraxia. Thank you. Yeah, those behind me are my kitties. So that's our big giant cat tree that's falling apart. At the tippy top there is Schmidt. And then Kira's the next level. She's the Callie, or the Tortie rather. And next to her, I can't tell. That's one of my 2 black cats. I think it's Miller. It looks like Miller. And so that's what I got going on over there. And then there, that's Anara. And she is eating right now very loudly in the background. You can hear her crunching. So you make sure that we know she's all here. So there she is. And yeah, so the dogs are outside right now. I'm sure they'll be coming in at any moment to just crash through the kitchen door, which you guys will get to experience with me. Yay. In any case, as I move along, yeah, so there's that part, the dyspraxia, the blah, 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 blah. And then there's also the meal planning component of this whole thing, right? The meal planning in terms of grocery store shopping, in terms of knowing what to even make or what you should be eating or how to eat right or any nutrition, right? That whole part of food struggles. Ugh. And there is kind of just the idea of kind of thinking that far ahead, like here it's Monday, what do I want to eat on Saturday? I don't even know what I want to eat for lunch. How am I supposed to know that kind of thing? So that's the other piece of meal of kind of the struggles that I have in terms of food. But there are some other little tiny things that I really wanted to talk about today, because I feel like I've mentioned before the dyspraxia. I am feeling so weird in this sweatshirt right now. I just can't find a comfortable way to have it on right now, which is very annoying to me. And I'm sure to those of you who are sensory people out there, especially the sensory avoiders, that's really annoying. So I'm going to try and ignore it for the rest of whatever. Here we go. But these are the components that I wanted to talk about, because we talk, I think, in big terms about, oh, here come puppies. There's Penny and Fiona and Gus and Walter and Antonio with wood to keep us warm. And there you go. So the stuff in food struggles that I wanted to talk about in terms of the kind of pieces that we don't talk a lot about, right? Okay, especially in terms of adulthood. So these are the components I think we forget to talk about with adults, like in the realm of adulthood and how to function with it. Okay, our picky eating, right? And it's odd, the picky eating, because it's not we talk, it's all the stuff we talked about the last time I talked about food struggles. It's the food memories that make us not want to eat certain things. It's the texture, it's the temperature, it's the hey CV. And then it's all of those other things that we talked about last week that add up to look like that pickiness. But pickiness makes it sound like it's optional or it's part of our personality to just be picky about our food. But our pickiness has whys behind it, right? It has those things behind it. It has the texture, the temperature, the taste, the seasoning, the time of day, even with certain foods, and even my mental health and certain foods, right? Weird. So weird. All of those things, that adds up to be what we call that autism food pickiness, right? It's those things that we don't think about in there. So as an adult, I still have that pickiness. It didn't go away. I've in fact added foods to my no way list, and I've also added foods to my safe foods list. And that those foods change over time and over age and over stress and over mental health and everything. So all of that is part of that whole thing, right? So that it's part of that pickiness, and I didn't grow out of it, and I didn't kind of grow into it either. I just kind of grew with it. That's what I did, right? And so it changed as I changed and all of those things. But the component, that big overarching thing of food pickiness, right, and food sensitivity, right, has been there my whole life. It's always been a component of my struggles. It's part of that sensory challenge that I have. It's just part of that. But we call it pickiness, and then it gets this negative connotation. And with that pickiness makes it seem optional, which invalidates sort of that reality that no, this is not a choice. I am not putting oatmeal in this mouth ever, right? That's not happening. That's not a pickiness. That's not an option, right? It's just the way it is. It's the truth, and it's my reality, and it needs to be just kind of validated, right? So that piece, we didn't talk about that last time, so now I've talked about it because it really ticks me off in a way that you guys can kind of hear, right? Because it doesn't feel optional. It doesn't feel like something I can work through. It doesn't feel like that. It's bigger than that to me, and it's been my reality for my entire life, and it has been systematically invalidated my entire life. But I don't want to do that anymore. That food pickiness that I have is very much a reality for me, and there are times when it can be a huge challenge for me. When I almost get overstressed and overwhelmed, and I get down to like the basics of what can I eat. I can't even force anything in my mouth. The feeling of eating, right, isn't just working for me anymore. So that's that pickiness that everyone talks about. It's still a struggle in adulthood, and it looks different in adulthood. Shocking, because we can't have little little outbursts about our food, and we also have much more control of what we can eat. So what we tend to do is stock our homes with safe foods. Why wouldn't we, right? And then a lot of times we forget to experiment outside of those safe foods in adulthood. There's nobody kind of saying eat your carrots, right? And so I am somebody who, which you can see right by the door there, so I don't forget to take them, are my vitamins. I know a lot of people poo-poo vitamins, right? For one reason or another, and saying, you urinate a lot of it out and all of that. But I eat like shit. I really do. I eat like crap. And so if I'm not taking vitamins, I see it in my hair growth. I see it in the health of my nails, right? I see it in my mental health also, right? Yeah, CV, I just caught that over there. It does. It gets labeled as depression a lot of times and depressive eating, right? But here's the thing. The struggle to eat comfortably can cause you to feel depressed. Why? This basic need to eat is food for fuel, right? Is this basic human need. Why? Why does it have to be so fucking complicated? And yet for a lot of us on the spectrum, that's exactly what it is. It's just complicated. And I would just like to be able to be on the Jetsons and take a little pill as a meal and feel and have gotten all my vitamins and all the things my body needs and all of that stuff, right? And then we could just eat for pleasure, right? You could just eat for joy, but that's not the case. And so I do take vitamins because I feel like, what else can I possibly do? At least all I have to do is swallow a pill, so I can do that. And so that's something that I do to kind of balance off my pickiness, right? But that's not the only thing on the list, you guys. There's more in terms of food. Eating in front of other people. Can we talk about that for a second here? I hate eating in front of other people. I don't know. I just feel like, I'm doing this to take care of myself, and like eating is self-care. And why does that need to be public? Why do I need to share that with other people or in front of other people? Also, if I'm with other people, right, and the point is to be socializing with them, eating and socializing don't go get along with each other. Have you ever tried to go out on a business meal with someone, if it's something other than coffee, right? Have you ever tried to go on a business dinner? Well, the ordering process takes forever, right? By the time people just want to be networking and talking and all of that. So they don't take the time to say, excuse me, I have to look at the menu or any of that stuff, right? And it takes forever to get the orders, forget that. And then by the time it all gets to the table and all of that, and then you're trying to talk to somebody about something you're trying to concentrate on. And as someone on the spectrum, I can't eat and concentrate on my social stuff, nor do I want to. Right? I think it's such a silly thing to go out on a business dinner or a business lunch, right? We can sit somewhere and have a cup of coffee or whatever. If it's because we need a location to be at that's not an office, that's fine, right? I can meet you at Barnes & Noble. I don't care. I'll meet you at the library, anywhere, right? It doesn't have to be over a meal where I will probably not pay attention to the conversation really well because I'm focusing on all of the things I'm supposed to be doing, including eating, which I won't get much done of. I'll have to pack it up to go and eat afterwards anyway. Vent. Right? So it's like a silly thing. And now with COVID, the idea of going out to eat seems even crazier, right? Doesn't the idea of going out to eat seem insane to you right now? But I don't like to eat in front of other people. I guess Antonio is the exception. We live together, so we've been eating in front of each other for a really long time. When I lived with my mom, yeah, I lived with her, so we ate together often, and I was used to that. But I'm talking about like going out to eat with people you don't eat with regularly, right? They're not part of your daily living, right? Even if it could even be family and for family gatherings. I don't like eating at holidays either. I feel like everybody's always looking at what I put on my plate, and that really makes me self-conscious. Because the other thing I want to talk about is the way that I do eat, which is weird, right? A lot of time I pick my food apart into little bits and pieces, and I eat with my hands instead of with forks and knives. Probably picked up that habit because of the dyspraxia, right? But I pick my food apart, and I like to eat it weirdly, and I eat weird combinations of things. And sometimes I eat strange things as meals, right? And so when I add my pickiness to the way that I eat physically, right? Why would I want to eat in front of anybody? I don't. I'm eating for fuel, right? And there are here's the thing I struggle with, right? That's how I feel, and yet I think food is beautiful, right? I love watching cooking shows. I love tasting new things, and I like trying out new things, right? And so it's sort of a weird thing to not be able to cook, to struggle with some foods, but also be really interested and mystified by how beautiful food can be, right? So like as myself, the individual, right? Food is fuel. If I was left to my own devices, which I was for many years, I ate really even more shitty than I eat now. And it had to be pre-made stuff, or it had to be able to go in the microwave, or I needed to be able to eat it raw. And that was just it, right? That's how I lived my life. So I ate a lot of raw veggies. I ate a lot of fruits, a lot of frozen things, right? And that wasn't necessarily healthy. And now I live with someone who cooks and cooks well, and who's kind of expanded my palate for home eating, right? Because it used to be that if I wanted something new and different to eat, I had to go out, which is part of that whole, I don't like to eat in front of people, and also I don't socialize that much, right? And so eating out alone is always one of those weird things, right? And so those are other food struggles, right? It's that having a weird set of foods that you like, and having your own rules about what foods are good and bad, and whatever. Then there's the how you eat it, and then there's the eating in front of people part, which is just, I mean, I can't think of a more neurotypical thing. Like, you know, like you may be neurotypical if you enjoy eating out at places with large groups of people, right? Because why? I don't, why? I can't hear the whole conversation. There's no part of that is working. None of it. It's just a lot of people smiling with food in their mouths and shaking their heads. That's what I think of when I think about eating out. And so especially for a work occasion, craziness, absurd. But yes, I'm looking at more in buffets are the worst. Yes, ew. First of all, my brain can't comprehend that many different kinds of foods together on a buffet. And what I end up doing is making myself sick, because I put weird combinations of things together, or I try lots of different things that I probably don't like, but I take a couple of bites of, right? But then, like, forget the Germanists. The Germanists can't even think about it when you're there. It's just, right? So that whole situation. Right. But I think there are these components of being an adult on the spectrum and still having these food struggles, still having safe foods, still having foods that are on your no way list, right? Not in a million years. I'd rather starve to death, right? And then we also have our odd food combinations, and the things that we do like and the things that we don't like. People fascinate that I'd rather eat my vegetables raw than eat them cooked, right? I do eat cooked vegetables. I don't dislike them, because I happen to like vegetables the most. But I mean, we do these strange combinations. And yes, exactly, Morgan. Who wants to see? I don't want people to have to see that. It's mostly because people feel like they have the right to judge. And because the world is still set up where people feel like they have the right to judge, it makes it uncomfortable, right? And it actually creates for me a lot of anxiety having to go out and eat with people, because I'm thinking about what they're thinking about what it is that I'm ordering or how I'm eating it, right? It's just so large. I could probably do a part 3 on food struggles and talk about even more of it, right? But there are parts of all of this autismness, right, and food struggles that put us in odd categories, right? It's like people really think that all of that food struggling just disappears. Like all those kids who were struggling to eat meals with their families have suddenly grown up and have miraculously been able to eat. No, it's just that because we're adults, we're in charge of that now. And so there's nobody forcing us to eat stuff we don't like to eat. So the stuff that used to be really loud at the top of the iceberg here, you don't hear about anymore, because we're adults and we're making those choices for ourselves, right? And we're in control of that stuff. So think about that. That doesn't mean that it goes away. It just means that there are new things about food struggles added to it. So now, instead of having to worry all the time that mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever it is going to make us eat everything on our plate and we're full, or it's going to make us eat that thing on our plate that we don't like, whatever it is, right? Instead of that food struggle, now we have to worry about the judgment that people are going to have about how we eat or when we eat or what we eat, right? And so that's still a food struggle, and it's still something that we deal with. But because it doesn't kind of make the waves and the noise that it made when we were kids, people think it's gone. Well, here I am to tell you it's not gone. In fact, I think now there are more layers to my food struggles than ever before. And so I think we need to remember that stuff, and we remember to be kind to ourselves around food and around how we eat and when we eat and how much, which will bring us directly to a conversation about body image and personal image and how we think we look and how we do look, which maybe we'll tackle next time. But for right now, in fact, let me know if you think a conversation about body image and how we think we present to the world and how we'd like to present to the world and kind of personal identity type stuff. If you want to have a conversation about that stuff, let me know in the comments, or let me know with thumbs up, or email me directly at info@beccalaurie.com. For now, that's it for Being Becca Live. I am about to head into a podcast interview, and then I have writing to do. Today is finally going to be a writing day, or maybe tomorrow. We'll see how the spoons play out. But I have a piece to write, and I'm going to be writing something about, speaking of identity, I'm going to be writing about identity first language. Woo! And I'm going to write a real and true piece for us, you guys. I'm not going to be soft about it. I'm going to be real about it. And so I hope, and that will be coming out in December. So I will share that with you then, but I still have to write it, but it's here. It just has to get out there. You know what I mean? It's all in here. Anyway, yes, that would be good. Okay, good. Let's talk about that next week. That's a great, I'm going to put it in the calendar because I feel like that's something that I need to deal with all the time, and I do deal with all the time, and it's worth talking about. So we'll talk about body image and that kind of thing, and how we kind of present outside to the world. And how we deal with that next week. For now, it is I, Becca Laurie Hector, saying goodbye from my kitchen, goodbye from my sleeping cats, and I will see you guys on Sunday for Growing Gratitude, if you'll join me to grow the gratitude in our lives. And that's at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. That's Mountain Time. So if you're Pacific, it's super early, and I'm sorry, but for everyone else, it seems to be working out. And so that's Sunday. And then, of course, I'll see you out on the interwebs. I'm out there. So leave me comments wherever you're seeing this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't know, head to my website, reach me through my contact page, anything that you'd like, join the newsletter, all of those fun things. But don't forget to let me know whether you like my videos with a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and by your views and shares. Otherwise, I'm in a void, you guys, and I'm just guessing. So let me know. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Tuesday. I will see you out on the interwebs. Bye. You guys practice.